true to what you said on people.
Welcome back to the second hour of At the Round Table with MAMLEO. I'm your host, Larry Ellison, in studio with my co-host, Helen Ritchie is here this morning, as well as Rhodes is here. The Rhodes Scholar is here. Dr. Bradley is on a little hiatus for a few weeks, but he will be back. I'm sure he's listening. He is fine, everyone, because I get inundated when he's not here from calls. Is he okay? He is fine, just actually literally and figuratively moving his daughter across country. So he will be back in as soon as he can get all this moving situation. And I also want to say good morning to Pastor Hobbs, who is over there. Thank you for getting that technical glitch there this morning. I tell you, man, I appreciate folks, but they get worried when they don't hear. They're like, "Are you guys there?" Like that's a good thing. So
that's why they gotta help support it.
There you go. How do they do that, Pastor Hobbs?
$, capital BPRTB. That's
right.
$, capital BPRTB.
Cash App.
Cash?
Yes.
Thank you. So I want to thank our sponsor, the Money Store. For all your mortgage needs, get branch manager Cora Hope. Call it area code 508-345-4726. That's 508-345-4726. Also want to thank Cruz Construction for their continued support of this broadcast, as well as the MAMLEO leadership and members. And also, Brother Rhodes, I know there's an event taking place.
Oh, yes. There's going to be building a wealth event at the
Frugal Bookstore.
Frugal Bookstore in Nubian Square.
Blame Siddiqui for getting you all screwed up, naming everything in that Nubian.
Yes.
And he even dressed up. If you're watching,
representing the MAMLEO colors and our history. Being celebrated all year round, not just in this month.
Under the wire. Today's the last day for some folks. It's every day for me. So
you got to represent. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not mad at
you.
I'm not mad at
but
you.
yeah. So this particular today building, it's a building wealth with entrepreneurs, and Tito Jackson's going to be one of them there, and then Ron Bell, and of course we've got Clarissa Cropper Eggerson and Leonard Eggerson, the owners of the bookstore. They're going to be there. So that's 57 Warren Street from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. today. Good
family, good support, local business. Folks come out and support it. While you're there, don't just go for the forum. Purchase some books. They have some really interesting books.
Really good books there.
I've gotten some really good books out there for my daughters, and it's culturally, and I like that. They
have a financial section, a chess section. My two favorite sections right there.
Oh, you're saying the Chess for Peace program?
Yes. That's
at Madison?
At Madison High School, and that's on Sundays from 2 to 3.
Okay.
But definitely look that up,
all right, well,
if you want to learn how to play chess.
And folks, if you want to join in this conversation, the calling number here is 617-282-0685, 617-282-0685. And again, we want to welcome back in on the line is City Councilor Ed Flynn, representing District 1. I keep you and Nick Collins. I know
District 2.
District 2, City Councilor, District 2, as well as Jamal Crawford is on the line. So, Councilor, I want to go back to you for a second here. So I go back to with all of that's taking place in the deficiencies in the council. Again, is there any proposal that are required learning curve or training for new counselors?
Because you said you had a point that you're going to make.
Yeah, Larry, you and your guests have mentioned that to me before, and I've been thinking about that. There is no proposal, but that's something I want to propose for sometime over the next 30 or 60 days, so it will benefit.
Because let me ask you, Counselor, would the city, anyone who's hired by the city, would be fair to say, I know it was a police officer, I know it's more in depth, but even someone who is hired to push a broom, right?
Yeah, even in the cafeteria,
gets some type of training on the job they're going to be doing, in that we have people who are making these monumental decisions on a daily basis for the whole entire city. Get no training whatsoever.
Well, actually, not even training. I recall from as a Boston police officer, or even as a police chief in Rhode Island, when you start the job, you have to sign up that you read all the policies and procedures and whatever else. And more often than not, it contains like a conflict of interest policy and all these other different policies and procedures. As a Boston City councilor, Councilor Flynn, do you recall when you started as a councilor, didn't you have to fill out like a bunch of paperwork or something similar?
Yeah, we had to fill out that type of paperwork, but it wasn't extensive, and it wasn't all that structured. And it is something I will propose, and it's based on listening to residents, but but based on listening to MAMLEO as well, and I think it's a great recommendation, and actually the best recommendations you get are come right from the community.
Because
Okay.
unfortunately, even if you do just have that manual and people do sign off, sometimes people, if it's not an in-depth training, some people will just sign on the book saying, "Yep, I read." Like, look how many
But they're
times
still
you've
responsible for
look how many
reading and
times
signing.
you've downloaded something from the internet or on the app store. It has this agreement thing. Everyone just kind of like clicks on the
Well,
agreement.
every year we're required, if
But
you're
it
still
doesn't divulge your
city
responsibility, though.
employees, you have to go on and you have to fill out this ethics and making sure that you're in compliance with that. It's quite lengthy, but it's to make sure that if you say I didn't know, you can't say I didn't know, and it's just
because it
it's-
makes you
have to
initial
check
every
box
line.
and
right.
sign.
Yeah.
But the
Okay.
people who are now tasked with, like I said, running the city are not held to the same, if not just the minimum standards, but even higher because of what
Their
they
responsibility
do.
is-
So,
yeah.
Counselor, I don't know if you were listening in our 7 o'clock. We were talking about this huge problem that continues with OPAT and accountability. Once again, we're talking about accountability and city employees as well. With the issue with police officers and search warrants, and in one instance here, there was one officer who had 3 of his cases dismissed because of improper behavior, and then the police department said he did everything right, no wrongdoing according to that. And these names jump out at me because I know one for certain, his family was well connected in the police department, and one would say he get preferential treatment. But this goes to what we were talking about also when you've been a guest on the broadcast in person here, is when, and Jamal is on there, is with OPAT and strengthening that so that there's real accountability and real investigations, and not the pushback we're seeing currently there of the lack of accountability there. We talk it's a lot being discussed, and I know you're trying to do what you can, but is there an effort at the council to really exact some power? I know there were some changes prior election to give the city council a little bit more authority to do things other than pass a budget, but is that really taking place there?
No, not really.
Okay.
I proposed a city council hearing. Actually, Brian Worrell proposed a city council hearing on this subject, and I was the original co-sponsor with Brian. Brian took the lead. So that now is in the Public Safety Committee. But if it doesn't have a hearing, almost immediately, we'll go into the budget session pretty soon, and then by that time the summer will be here, so it won't be as effective. But it's up to the city council chair if he is going to have a serious conversation about it.
And that's Santana, correct?
That's
And there was
correct.
some confusion on whether or not you were the under chair or
Vice chair.
Vice chair. Are you the vice chair of that committee?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
So I saw on the website that it's Ben Weber, so apparently another city councilor that has strong ties to Mayor Michelle Wu.
Yeah, Ben Webb is also the Ways and Means chair.
Yeah.
The top chairs, the top main committees are basically appointed by the people very close to Mayor Wu.
That's what I thought. And so this is why, and then this is what I was saying earlier, I don't have much confidence and faith. And like I said, you're a frequent guest on this show, and we appreciate that. You're out in the community. We've invited Councilor Santana, who said he was coming and didn't show up, didn't even have the decency to call. So someone like that, who I feel is embedded with the mayor and the administration, and I think you just kind of confirmed that really the top positions that really mean something are held by people who the mayor
players for the mayor
wants in those positions. And there's a reason why, because you don't want things brought to the forefront, so you put the people in there who are not going to have any interest in really digging where the dirt is.
Well, and you also have
Well-
Corporation Council that's doing the review. They're employees of the city. Mayor Michelle Wu would be their boss.
Right.
So it's not much of a surprise as that which way they would go.
Well, that's why the vote for city council president was so important. And we had the ability and the opportunity to elect the most qualified of all 13 city councilors to be the president. Brian, no one was giving the job to Brian Worrell. Brian Worrell earned the job.
Yeah.
And
Didn't he have all the votes that he needed at the time?
Well, you never have all the votes until the
They're
vote.
cast.
Yeah, until they actually cast.
So they actually cast.
But there was an intentional effort, I believe, by the mayor's office.
It was a block.
to
The mayor
block
blocked.
Brian from getting the job.
Yeah.
And what was most disappointing, though, is Brian was the Ways and Means chair previously, and he was the vice president. So naturally, that was the next in line, really, for the next leadership position, which is the council president.
Yeah.
But even the council president at the time, she didn't vote for Brian. And other city councilors of color didn't vote for Brian. It set Boston back and hurt race relations as well.
Yeah.
That's too
Did
bad.
Mejia vote for Worrell? Just curious.
It was a 7-6 vote, right?
Yeah, Julie Mejia voted for Worrell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure, and I think Culpepper did. I want to grab this other call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the roundtable.
Yes, good morning. This is T. Michael Thomas. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I
Good
have
morning,
a couple
T. Michael.
questions for the counselor.
Go ahead.
Yeah, a couple questions, counselor. Good morning. I was
Good morning,
wondering,
T. Michael.
on a professional level, are you a man of your word?
Yes, I am, T. Michael.
Okay. And I have two more questions, and I'm going to get back to that first one. Looking around the city in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, over $60 billion in infrastructure. There's still a wealth gap between blacks and whites, $8 to $250K. And when you look around the construction industry, it doesn't reflect not even 2% of that demographic. Is there anything that the city council at all, as a body, is doing anything to address that?
The city council has more influence than people realize, and part of it is conducting hearings on that subject, the Boston Jobs, the Boston Residents Policy, and the Employment Commission, and we're required to meet twice a year and listen to public testimony as well, and testimony from experts. So we have the ability to have an impact if we want to have an impact.
No, Counselor, I understand you have the ability. My question was, are there anything being done to address?
I think, and not to cut you off, T. I think, cause, no, because I think, let me just jump in there quickly, because I think, if you were listening, a lot of this, I'm not defending the counselor in no ways, but I think he kind of explained, the dysfunction that's taking place down there. I think we all should be really alarmed that there's nothing really, what I can gather from this, even if you want to change anything down there, the mayor has structured it with the number of votes that she has. Nothing is moving without the mayor's approval.
Yeah, so essentially it becomes the mayor's council.
It becomes like the Republican, the House and the Senate, rubber stamp of what the leader wants. So, I mean, go ahead. I'll get your question, but I just listening to
my
that.
Last question. Last question is that referencing back to the first one. The reason I asked that question, Counselor, because not only on this show and in person, you and I had a conversation about doing follow-up, and I did all the steps through your office, through your cell phone, and there was no response. That, to me, I see an issue with.
I did call you on the phone, T. Michael, and I did say that it's important for us to work together on this, but I did call you on the phone and have a conversation about how we move forward.
Okay. So let's do this, T, because let's do this. I'll do the council and we'll try to bridge that divide, because we have very few councilors who are even willing to do anything down there, and I'd rather have us trying to make this positive for the People's Academy, and working with those elected officials who at least show a willingness to do so than we don't have anything at all. So I will follow up on your behalf of the People's Academy, if you like, with the counselor, to make sure that we get together and move this forward.
Thank you. One last comment, please.
Mm-hmm.
great show, and I will be listening.
Thank you.
Thank you,
So,
thank you.
Counselor, I want to pivot for a second because just to follow up on some of the conversations we had. One, is there anything in the pipelines for this property tax relief for the residents here in Boston? Because I'm sure it's sticker shock. I know I got my tax bills for properties I own here in the city, and a lot of our seniors, as well as the alarming what we're seeing with this in the number of school closings that are taking place here, but an increased budget. And when we talk about diversity and things of that nature, that the number of teachers that are being, because it's last hired first fired,
Yes. So the number
and
of
the
black
tenure,
males that are being fired,
and
then it's just unbelievable. And then again, the fact that people voted to have a city council,
an elected
city council, and that still is being circumvented through this administration.
Yeah, I know there's a proposal up at the state senate, actually legislation that was
Senator
filed
Collins,
and voted in favor up at the state senate that would provide Boston residents with tax relief.
Is that
small
just
businesses
residents
with
or
tax
that
relief.
homeowners? It's just for
That's
I would think it'd have to be
homeowners.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's homeowners and small businesses as well. I think the next step, it has to go to the House of Representatives.
Okay.
But those are good proposals, and they would provide some good property tax relief for homeowners.
Mm-hmm.
And that was proposed by Senator Collins
Yeah.
and I believe Senator Brownsberger as well.
Another friend of the show.
But the other piece of it is we have to realize the very difficult economic situation Boston is in, and we have a spending problem.
Wow.
And and we had a hearing yesterday actually at the city council, and the health care costs for city employees has gone up dramatically, and the city of Boston spent $18 million last year alone on weight loss drugs.
What? Wow.
And I'm pretty sure the city's still fat.
And
18 million. Wow.
Maybe I support people having access to prescription medication, but that's a lot of money that the taxpayers are spending.
Is that like Ozempic?
At some point, we just can't continue with the nonstop spending, and we have to have a serious conversation. If we continue spending like this, we're going to continue seeing 10% tax increases for property owners.
Wow.
Well, speaking of taxpayer spending, one of the topics that we talked about earlier this morning was about Boston Police Department, use of informants, and the way it ends up going through the courts and the system, and find that I think the article that you read, Larry, if I recall correctly, mentioned about how oftentimes there's been issues found with some of these warrants that are gotten from the courts based upon false information, right?
Or
and then
a non-existent informant.
And then it becomes a waste of taxpayer money, right? Of all that goes into bring the arrest, the trial, or going to the process of going through the trial process, only for it to be evidence to be either suppressed or the case dismissed, and so forth. What is the I believe is it Public Safety and Criminal Justice Committee? Is that on your radar?
No,
I don't think that subject is on the radar, to be honest with you. I haven't heard much conversation about that at all.
Yeah.
But if someone wanted to pursue that and get me a little bit more information, I can take a look at it and maybe try to have a hearing on it. But I would need to get some more background information.
Actually, what was the article that you
Yeah, I
read?
think
Where did you quote
Larry has
that?
the article.
I'll send that over to you, Counselor. The article from the Globe. This was back in early January. But Pastor Hobbs, you had something?
Well, no, I just wanted to get clarity because, again, Henry Satanin was on the broadcast and talked about being the chair of public safety and saying how he was learning. This was his first term, but in the second term, that this was something that he actually was getting some guidance from you. And unless I misunderstood, and I'm looking here, and it looks as though that's been a concern of yours throughout your tenure, is the public safety, and wondering what your role is with regard to kind of facilitating, or if you're having a role in facilitating this whole Office of Police Accountability that seems to be kind of challenged right now to actually do what it was intended to do. I don't know if you heard me.
Larry,
Oh, that was Pastor Hobbs.
Pastor, I couldn't hear it all that well. I do apologize.
So the question is with regard to the Office of Police Accountability and Transparency, the OPAT office, and the challenge with it really, with all the issues that have been addressed, them being addressed. And Henry Santana is the chair. I understand he was recently on Healing Our Land's broadcast, and I thought he made mention to the fact that you have been the chair, and this has been something that I see has been one of your biggest concerns throughout your tenure is public safety. So is there a role that you are playing or can play, and with regard to actually getting this hearing or having the Office of Police Accountability doing what it was intended to do?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good question. So I am working with Brian Worrell, and I do think it's important for us to have the hearing in the next 30 days and learn. I think people want to learn more about what's happening at the office as well in Nubian Square. I was there and met with Evandro Cavallo a couple of weeks ago, and we had a good conversation about what the office is doing. But he's not being supported, or he doesn't have that working relationship with the commissioner's office, and he's not receiving the relevant information that he needs to do his job from the office of the commissioner. I think that's common knowledge. I don't think he's talking out of school.
Yeah, sounds like an issue we have with the state auditors having that same issue with the state legislature currently too.
Yeah. So Jamal, Jamal?
The office,
good.
The office won't work unless the mayor's office buys into it, and the police commissioner is supportive of it.
Right. So Jamal, are you still with us?
Absolutely.
So, hearing what the counselor said, because what you were part of the team that kind of put this together, right? Was it designed to give the police commissioner as much power and veto power, I should say, as they currently have?
So quite frankly, no.
Okay.
That was the reason why it was created as a quote-unquote independent body. Originally, there were discussions for it to actually be a thing that was housed within Boston Police Headquarters.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was one of our first, come to Jesus moments where it was like, no.
Right.
And then this whole issue came up even more recently, right? With Commissioner Cox being caught basically bold-faced lying with regards to the Karen Reed case. And then when a post-complaint was filed about it, turns out, I think, Larry, you'd shared, right, that originally there was you had pushed for language that someone like in Commissioner Cox's position should be held accountable in terms of post-certification, but then there was this little kind of a gray area that got carved out.
Right.
Because now it's a civilian position. You were saying it's not is it a civilian position or something that...
It's a civilian mayoral appointed position.
It kind of isn't gray. And just for that reason.
I'm talking about the post-certification piece.
Boston is one of those places where the commissioner is not a
sworn personnel,
a regular officer.
Right, sworn.
Someone could tell Commissioner Cox that when he keeps calling himself police officer.
He's not a sworn person. He's not under the post certification. He's the only chief quasi of a law enforcement agency in the Commonwealth that does not have police powers. Every other police agency, their chief is a police officer. Their leader is even at the state police.
So you're telling me that Commissioner Cox right now, if he was going to arrest someone, he's doing it as a private citizen,
which is interesting because he has a badge, right? Most likely, I'm not for sure, but probably carries a gun as well. And you've also had past cases of, for example, Commissioner Davis, where he actually made an arrest along with one of his drivers, right? So that's an interesting. He
can make a citizen's arrest. Like any citizen can, but it is not in any official capacity as a police officer. And if he was representing himself as a police officer, he would be impersonating a police
Yeah,
officer.
actually, Commissioner Cox is on video at a graduation where he talks about himself, references himself as a police officer. So that's interesting.
Here's a nuance. That's the thing with OPAC. OPAC, to my understanding, and hopefully once again, Avandro comes on the show and can speak to these issues himself. But to my understanding, OPAC, and as we created it, has the ability to sanction, examine, investigate a sworn officer or civilian personnel.
Employee of the city, of the police department, right? Which
There
the
you
commissioner is, right? So Jamal and Counselor, why? I think to me, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I think and folks here, Helen and folks, I think there's an easy fix to this, and it's in the language, right? Why can't OPAC adopt the same language as the Pulse when it's autonomy? Of it, just put that in there that they were separate entity, not just because they're not housed in City Hall. That language is in there that they don't report to the police. Just like once you're sworn in as a commissioner on the post, and that is intentional, because then the governor and the attorney general who are sign off on you being able to serve in that role, that is the end of their involvement with you on any decisions you make. So you don't have that hanging over your head that if you do decide on something they don't like, that they can remove you. They can't remove you. But if you're not independent from the mayor, and we're seeing this with the way she structured the council, my way or the highway. So without that in there, I don't care who you put in, they're not going to have any independence. So Counselor and Jamal, why not adopt that same type of language or separation from the mayor as you do when you become a commissioner on the post from the AG and the governor? Who wants to go first? Good,
I
Counselor.
defer to the counselor,
Go ahead.
please.
Go ahead,
Counselor.
Okay. No easy answer on it. But one thing I would say is if the residents want it and there's pushback for the residents in the community to force the city council to do their job, that's how things get done.
But Counselor, I have to push back a little because the residents voted to have an elected school committee, and we still don't have it.
But Larry, I agree with you. But on the city council, there's been no debate over the last several years on moving forward with an elected school committee. People are more, my colleagues are more concerned about ranked choice voting than the school committee. I've never had one person ask me about ranked choice voting, but there's a huge, strong will from the residents for the school committee, but the city council doesn't want to go forward on it because the mayor's not in support of it.
Councilor Flynn, I'm curious with the Public Safety and Criminal Justice Committee, what has been your take or the committee's take with regards to these recent subpoenas that OPAD issued? I believe it was approximately 9 subpoenas that were issued, and only, I believe it was less than a handful of police officers actually showed up.
Well, I think there's a flaw in the law where if police, it seems like they can.
There's no consequence.
Choose whether to go or not to go.
Well, even the head of the Patrolmen's Federation, he came out kind of tepid and said, well, if they go, they go, basically. And I'm paraphrasing, but, if they don't, like instead of him forcefully saying that he thinks they should comply unless there's some conflict that, the criminal would, they have a right to remain silent. But it should have been very forceful that if they're just there to testify to what they saw and they're not involved in any way other than that, yes, I strongly suggest my members.
Wouldn't this be where City Council would step in?
No.
Not this one. I was with Jamal and with MAMLEO. Jamal had a excellent forum.
Yes.
On this subject, it probably went 5 hours, and I was there for about 2.5 hours and watched the rest on television. But what was obvious to me is the Boston police didn't show up and have an official representative there.
No.
Because there's no consequences for ignoring the public.
And so that's what I said to Evandro when I saw him 2 weeks later at his office, and I had a conversation. And Evandro, who I like, and he's telling me they're doing a lot of good stuff. And I just said, Evandro, the police didn't show up to the meeting. how are things going well if the police didn't even show up?
And to reflect on that too, the fact that what's that the landing page or whatever the thing that they're supposed to have set up.
Oh, you mean for the tracking of the misconduct complaints?
It's not even set up. Yeah.
Well, and the fact that
Dashboard.
Dashboard, yes.
and the fact that these subpoenas were supposed to be were about misconduct allegations being made to OPAT, and you have officers that are being subpoenaed. 3 showed up, 6 didn't, and it's part of the city of Boston structure. So I would think that it would fall under the purview of the Public Safety Criminal Justice Committee. No?
So we've got another call, Jamal. I want to grab it. I want to ask you before I grab this call. Is there a follow up to your forum or to some of the questions and suggestions that came out of that? Will there be a follow up in a response from?
Anytime I do anything, I strive to have like an action item.
Okay.
So the action item was calling for the city council hearing. We've now called for the city council hearing. That is in effect. Once again, thanks to Councilor Worrell, Councilor Flynn, as well as Councilor Weber, and now it is in that committee. So that's it. So
but
now, next step is
Jamal, let me just jump in because it sounds like from what I'm hearing from Councilor Flynn that is going to go by the wayside. He says that there are things that are going to be more pressing. The summer's coming, the budget's coming. That may not.
Remember, it's the same thing I said. If it doesn't happen in like March or April, then that's when we know it's on the back burner.
Not even on the stove.
It's going to happen sooner than later.
Okay.
So that's what I'm pushing for, and I hope everybody joins in that push.
All right, let's grab this call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the roundtable.
Good morning. Good morning. This is Charles Shanty calling.
Wow, a wealth of knowledge. Good morning, sir.
Counselor.
Yes.
It couldn't be more
How are you?
timely.
No, we got Councilor Yancey.
Good morning. Good morning,
calling
Council
because-
President Yancey.
Okay. Councilor Flynn, it's great to hear your voice. I think I'm going to call this the Allison Flynn Show. But I'm calling on a totally unrelated topic. Only because I know how deeply moved each and every one of you were with the passing of Jesse Jackson. What has received a lot less attention is the passing of formerly Reverend Raylan Ellis Hagler, now I believe it's Raylan Scott Hagler. He passed away the same day as Jesse Jackson. And
I saw that. Rest in peace.
DC?
Yes. Both did have an impact on the city of Boston. In fact, little known fact, Raylan Hagler actually ran for mayor at one point. But I just wanted to, on behalf of I'm sure, many residents of Boston, express my condolences to the Jesse Jackson family and to Reverend Hagler for their activism and their love and commitment to the city of Boston as well as to human rights around the world.
Yeah.
I know that's off topic.
No, but you have that privilege here, sir. But I also want to pivot back to the council here because you spent a lot of time. You spent decades in the council, and want to get your take on. I know back then there were fights and everything, but this seems to be probably one of the least productive councils that I've seen in a long time at City Hall. And I know mayors have always had a strong hold on some, if many of the council members, but this just looks like the Trump administration at a local level controlling all the levers of who is in positions of authority. And we have some serious matters, Council. I know one that's been all near and dear to you, as well as Councilor Flynn, is the education of our children. The fact that the recent article that a third of the students that graduated from high school this year in Boston will not even have the basic comprehension to graduate. And it doesn't seem to be a sense of urgency to address that. We're closing schools. We're laying off more teachers, particularly teachers of colors, last in, first out. You had been talking about a new high school for decades, and I don't think we've had one built here since the Madison Park. I want to get your take on what you're seeing here. And is this...
Well, first of all, I do share your concern on many, many issues facing the city of Boston. With regards to the city council, I've always maintained that the city council has more power than is recognized in the public and the media, and even among councilors themselves. The mayor cannot spend one penny with the approval of the Boston City Council. And I just want the council to act like it and not be subservient to the executive branch of government. Now, the executive branch, meaning the mayor's office, is prone to try to maximize its power.
Sound familiar?
Every January. And that's true of all mayors, incidentally. With all due respect, even my friend Ray Flynn did the best he could. He didn't act as bodaciously as some of the other mayors on this topic, but the mayor wants to maximize power. And one of, I had many friendly discussions with each of the mayors on all the topics you've discussed this morning. I was opposed to doing away with the elected school committee from the very beginning. We organized, we fought against it, and we lost that battle. But one of the reasons we have an appointed school committee was because there was a lot of criticism of the elected school committee. I said, okay, if the mayor thinks that he or she can do a better job, then show us the evidence, show us the receipts, show us how things have improved.
Show us the receipts.
Since we had an appointed school committee. I challenge anyone to do that, even today. So we must return to an elected school committee.
And it's interesting that I think there's a Boston.
With regards to the issue around police accountability,
yep.
I have to give Jamal Crawford and the city council some credit, because at least we have some systems in place today that, at least on paper, require more accountability than existed when I was on the city council. In spite of my efforts for 32 years to establish a civilian review board that is independent and that would require the level of accountability that we talk about rhetorically. But there's been some progress in that area, and that should be recognized. But now we have to really implement it. You can't do it if the systems in place are not independent.
There's the key word there, independent.
And WGBH had an article that said that Boston's the only municipality in Massachusetts that still has an appointed board, right?
Each of you have been raising some important issues that has to be paid attention to by regular citizens and taxpayers, such as each of you are. But I know that part of the problem is the media. The media has a way of focusing the public's attention, not the other way around, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
well, you have Michelle Wu, who's friends with Laura Pizzuti, who runs the Globe now.
Excuse me?
I said you also have Mayor Michelle Wu, who's good friends with Laura Pizzuti, who runs Boston Globe now.
Okay.
So, but I think
I have
the
a
point.
bad connection. I didn't quite hear what you said.
That Mayor Michelle Wu is good friends with Laura Pizzuti, who runs the Boston Globe. You mentioned about media. So I don't know if you've noticed Boston Globe versus Boston Herald. There is quite a difference in terms of how they cover the news when it comes to the city of Boston.
Oh, yes. I mean, I could go down the list in terms of looking at what is or is not happening with regards to the media.
Right. I think also
nationally we're on the verge of.
No, I'm saying we because exactly
quasi-independent institutions. And the same thing happens locally.
No, absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. There's not much difference between how Trump runs the Congress and how the mayor runs the council here. Is it like I said, there's no independence. But I want to get Councilor Flynn's reaction to what you've said, because things have changed since you've left the council. And he's one of the few council members that will come on and debate this. Like you and I, we've had some spirited conversations during your time in the council. We didn't always agree, but I always knew I could come to you and at least air my grievances. Like I said, that old taxation without representation. We're having taxation and we have no representation here. And
Well, not only that, Larry, you testified before my committees when I was looking at
Yes.
the issue of
Yeah.
diversity and
Right.
accountability and representation in city government.
Right. And that's why they wanted you out.
Over the years.
Right.
No,
Share
and
that line of communication.
And I wanted to harp on the point that he made about the fact that, again, the media is the one dictating to the public what they, instead of the public dictating to the media and to the government.
Yeah.
You know, you're representing us, so why don't you come and find out what we, the people, need, and then you do, as opposed to you telling us what we need.
And that goes back to what we talked about earlier this morning, right? About the article where it talks about staying informed and making sure that the factual information is out there.
That's how we get the regress. Councilor Flynn, I want to get your take on what Councilor Yancey has said, because he spent a lot of time in that body where you are currently.
Well, always I agree with Councilor Yancey. I've known him my entire life and always respected him. He was the city council president as well. And I agree. It's about if the city councilors themselves want to flex their political power, they can do it. If they don't want to do it and they want to, coast through being an elected official, if they want the title but they don't want the authority or the power to get things done, they
responsibility.
Can do that as well.
But I think the irony is this, and the hypocrisy as well, is that was one of the things I constantly, and I met with Michelle when she was an at-large counselor. One of the things she complained about the most was how the council was disrespected and they didn't have a voice, and was part of it. And now she's doing to
The
this
same
body
thing,
what she claimed she didn't want done to her. Just shocking.
Yeah. Well, the same thing with Cox. Like, you would expect him to be a better police commissioner, understand like
accountability, and yet we're seeing just the opposite.
Yeah, but we saw what happened with him in Ann Arbor as well after he left the Boston Police Department, let alone while he was with the Boston Police Department, and then obviously
Larry,
everything that came out recently.
Yeah. Go ahead, Counselor.
I'm ready to run. I'm going into a meeting. But
Okay.
I did want to leave on one note.
Sure.
Is one of the most disappointing things I've seen is the way the Boston Police Department has treated Superintendent Eddie Crispin in Eddings as well. Mm-hmm. And I also think that should be part of the discussion as it relates to oversight and OPAT-related issues.
Right.
Because we have to make sure that black and brown police officers are treated with respect.
Listen, Counselor,
Don't have
I
Asian police
appreciate you
officers either.
highlighting that, because black on black crimes is still a crime.
Right, yes.
So thank you, Counselor, for your time
Okay, thank
this
you,
morning.
everybody.
Appreciate you.
Before the council leaves, let me
yeah.
thank him for his service
Wow.
as one of our veterans, as well as his service on the city
Yes,
council.
absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you, Counselor.
Take it easy on the shoveling there, old guy.
All right. So, Jamal, I think, you kind of alluded to that as well. I think that struck you as well when the Councilor Yancey, as well as us here at the table, talk about the independence. And that's what I was saying, is that I think that's an easy fix, is that you can structure the OPAT in the same structure as once you're appointed or you have that, there is the mayor does no longer have any say over any decisions that you make, or the police commissioner. Without that, you just have another branch of the mayor's office, really, because you're working for the mayor, not for the people who you're tasked.
You're just a rubber stamp, basically, at that
Well,
point.
the last chair vote, right? That was a 7-6 vote, and most of those people were ones that were aligned with.
Well, that's why
with
she
the mayor.
made sure that they in
It's a majority
the
vote.
darker night, they made sure they had it so that they had as a president who the mayor
They had a
could control the
surprise,
most.
they had a
And-
surprise candidate.
Yeah.
on
And
the
two
side.
of the current city councilors used to work for Wu in one way, shape, or form, right? One with her administration, and one was a civic organizer.
Exactly. Let's grab this call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the roundtable.
Good morning. This question is for all y'all. Yeah, sorry, I have a southern accent.
That's all right.
And my question is, I noticed this theme within the Boston Public, with the city council and the mayor in general. It seems that when they get elected or re-elected to office, there's no accountability or consequences
Especially
for their
after
actions
the first term.
when they don't do what we the people want.
Because once
Like you
they're
said,
in the incumbency.
So my question is, when, as we the voters, is going to finally wake up,
I don't know.
demand action, and say, you know what? Since you're not doing your job, You're going to be bored.
Well, they had an opportunity, Dick, and they chose to reelect. So, and not only reelect, but basically a walk-in, right?
Yeah. They control the narrative. They control the people that get to run. So they're kingmakers.
Exactly.
Well, and then you had Wu with her having her people push to get signatures and whatnot to get city councilors on get a city councilor on the
I don't
ballot.
have a problem with someone doing that as much as I have with people allowing it to take place and not a check and balance because that's
the one
politics. That's
using her people.
What's that other thing? Freedom isn't free. Okay,
Right.
it demands participation. It demands.
Don't
But it's also a
complain.
misuse of taxpayer funds, though.
I'm not saying it's not, but I'm saying is if the people
If the people
here
aren't gonna-
have,
yeah.
If they're not going to hold them accountable, they just
This is what you're gonna get.
Keep getting away with it.
Exactly.
Let's grab this other call. Dick, stand by. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the round table.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, just very quickly.
Yeah.
I told you last week. Well, first of all, I think you saw the article in the Banner about the fractured relationship between Mayor Wu and the black community. So anyhow, what it is, we were going down there to Boston City Hall this past Friday, demanding that the library be called the Nubian Library. But we rescheduled it for this Friday the 6th, asking folks to be down there, 5th floor, Boston City Hall at 10:30 a.m., demanding the Nubian Library name, with hopefully that being a lead-in to let the mayor know that she will be confronted not only about the library piece, but White Stadium and whatever issues,
I hope the schools are on that list, Siddiqui, because this should be concerning. I know it is to you, but to all of us, that our kids are going to be walking out of schools this year, not even with the basic requirements to be able to function in society.
And I was going to say, Siddiqui, I wanted to give him a prop for a good job on your quote there with the Bay State banner. You didn't hold anything in terms of your comments with
I haven't seen the article yet. Maybe we'll get a chance to Helen.
And not for nothing, I've just issued a proposal that's gonna rename White Stadium to Nubian Stadium.
Nubian Stadium.
I have to get my medication or something because looks like Jamal and I are agreeing on a lot of stuff here.
Listen, they say a broken clock is right twice a day, right?
So again, you said Friday,
March 6th.
March. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, March 6th.
March 6th. What time again?
We're asking folks to be down at the 5th floor, Boston City Hall, 10:30 a.m. because the bottom line is that we haven't requested a meeting, just like we did around the whole thing with the Bryant High School. We pulled a Deion Sanders. We said, we coming.
We coming.
Yep.
We outside. We busting.
So someone has sent me that the mayor will be at the bowling building. I don't have a time on March 5th.
Oh, so we can be busting there too on Thursday.
We got to show her we mean business.
Yeah, well,
we got to show up. You know what I'm saying? You want a democracy. You want government to work for you. You want representation. Sometimes you got to represent yourself. So tell the people. Show up.
No, okay.
Hey. Oh, should I tell them that they're free turkeys?
That'll get them down.
Siddiqui, have you considered? It looks like, and this is me from Googling it, but it looks like Thursday, March 5th, there's mayor's office hours, and I think it was when you mentioned the bowling building, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. That seems like the mayor's office hours in Roxbury would be a great
Exactly.
It's right there.
And then you can get. I would do a standout
Thursday, March 5th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Bruce C. Bowling Municipal Building. And it's being called the mayor's office hours. It's publicly.
I'm pretty sure the mayor's representative is going to be there, not the mayor's.
The mayor will be there.
Okay, we'll see.
She'll pop in.
We'll see.
But it's a good time, like I said, it would be a good time to inform people about the event for the next day. Right?
I believe they're going to be giving out free turkeys that day, right?
Free coffee.
Free coffee? Okay, free coffee.
Yeah, it says it says actually on Instagram.
Yeah.
They actually say that the
refreshments will be served.
It says that actually. The City Hall is coming to Roxbury. Mayor Michelle Wu is launching her first ever office hours. Join us on Thursday, March 5th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So it says Mayor Michelle Wu is launching her first ever office hours.
Show up, people.
So we got a couple of minutes left. I want to get. So, Dick, any clock before we let you go, sir?
As always, support the People's Academy, yeah?
And Boston Praise Radio and TV.
Yes.
Cash App, $ BPR TV.
All right. Thank you, sir. So, Siddiqui, before we let you go, brother, I know we said that event is on the 6th at City Hall. And there's an event also in Nubian Square today. I'm sure you're going to be there.
It's a Black Wealth, building Black Wealth.
At Frugal Bookstore.
Actually, I'm calling it Black Wealth, but they're just calling it building wealth.
And that's all
right. I would think that they wouldn't limit it to just...
yes, exactly. I mean, the information is for everyone. Anyone can show up. Again, at the Frugal Bookstore, Nubian Square. I'm sorry. Let me pronounce that correctly.
He's got on his dashiki and it's got his brain rewired. So go ahead, brother.
Representing at the Frugal Bookstore in Nubian Square, Saturday, February 28th, 57 Warren Street from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Talking about building wealth. Again, come and support local businesses, come and learn from entrepreneurs, and then see what's going on as far as like the city's proactive. Because I do believe Jaylen Brown from the Celtics, he thought that financial literacy was one of those things that he needed to promote and help build as well. So we're sending out an invitation for him to participate as well. Yes,
so
it's not so common.
Yeah. Anything before we let you go, brother?
Well, let me say very quickly that I'm glad to hear about that session. The 5th. What that says to me is that the mayor evidently is gaining some sensitivity in the fact that black folk are saying we're not going to put up with your foolishness.
Well, I wouldn't give her that much credit. I think sometimes
we got to show her that we mean business, because right now she thinks we're a joke.
Well,
show up.
And it looks like you have an opportunity, right?
Yeah,
it's the first ever office hours.
So let's just show up, folks.
It sounds like she's going to be there if she's launching her first ever office hours.
So if she doesn't show up, at least we show up. You know what I'm saying?
And you can make it the day before. You can combine them all together.
That's right.
All right, Siddiqui, thank you, sir.
Right, appreciate it.
All right, Jamal. Before we say good night. Good morning.
Way to go.
To you, anything you wanna?
No, that's it, brother. Y'all have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Much love for you. This is why, again, when this remaining time for folks, why you have to support not just this broadcast,
not just this
radio station,
but this radio
why
station.
Funding of it is so crucial, so important. I want to remaining couple of minutes here for folks to call in for that as well.
Yes, please.
Calling you, because if you don't, you call in, Pastor Hobbs isn't going to be answering the phone.
No.
Pastor Wall isn't going to be answering the phone.
As a matter of fact, he's going to be retired.
You're going to hear that. You know that when you call
Who's
and say, the number you reach is no longer service. Please check the number and don't dial again.
And we talked about the importance of staying informed and getting accurate information and knowing what's what.
Where else can you go and have a conversation like this? Locally, right?
Yeah, and it's in depth and it goes on for a while. It's not like quick sound bites.
Right. Where you have city councilors, former city councilors, community activists, right?
Actually come in and talk and have a dialogue.
Brothers in dashikis. Where you gonna find that on a Saturday morning?
And information that's going to be helpful to you too, right? Knowing where to go if you need to talk to. May Michelle was having her first office hours, right? Roxbury.
And then we learned about the
Siddiqui is having the event at City Hall, right?
And hopefully he'll be there as well for the office hours, so we can get that face-to-face
accountability. He said he wasn't aware that he found out today, right? The Frugal Bookstore event. Right?
And we found out from Senator Nick Collins about the reprieve for the taxes and stuff right here in this program.
Action. That, like I said, folks, when you hear that silence,
we need your help, folks. Okay, so again, Cash App, $BPRTV.com.
Right.
Folks.
And let me clear, this is not to provide and enrich.
$sign capital BPRTV. Period. You said .com.
Oh,
it's okay. That's
I told you that Dashiki's got them all messed up.
All right, folks, drop the .com. Let's get the Cash App.
Don't want to send it to the wrong place.
Just drop it off at the station here.
Drop the money off, all right? You want the information?
The church is used to taking donations.
So. And freedom isn't free, folks. You got to invest in the station to get your information.
Right. And this is not to enrich us, because we don't get paid for doing what we do here. This is all volunteer.
We do.
But we do have to pay.
Volunteer. It's been an hour and a half drive each way for me.
We have to pay for the lights.
5 in.
Right.
There are costs, though.
There is.
Heat.
We know it's just no different than your home, right?
Yes.
You want internet, you want TV, you want, there's a price affiliated with that.
Yeah.
So,
and if you have people that you want to hear too, feel free to send in recommendations as well.
All right. Helen Rhodes.
Well, since Dr. Bradley's not here, I'm going to close with his infamous words: "Be blessed."
All right.
Hustle real hard, hustle if I never see ya, never get the chance to meet ya. No, I came up from the bottom, always rooting for the underdog.
I wrote 300 songs in 1 year, Boogie will tell you I'm on it. I got unreleased songs for days, they don't want it. Eat any MC in the game, it ain't a challenge. If your music reflects who you are, then you's a coward. I can see through the lies, you ain't living what you spitting. If your money's so long, why your dog's in prison? Why your baby mom's stripping, why your mom's still living in that same broken home that you used to sell piffin'? You ain't gotta lie to me to sell me a track. You ain't gotta rock fake jewels or walk around strap. I respect artists getting money, but love them for spitting crack. And the fact that one track can move a family out the trap. It's a dream for us lost souls brought up in the mix. I'm motivated by the artists coming out in my midst. And the artists that paved the way when I didn't exist. Music's a skyscraper, I'm just trying to add a couple bricks.
This is for the dreamers. They say I am a dreamer. Cause I still believe that anything is possible as long as you work hard.
Hustle real hard, hustle real hard. Hustle real hard, hustle
So if I never see ya, never get the chance to meet ya. No, I came up from the bottom, always rooting for the underdog.
Hustle real hard, hustle real hard. Hustle real hard.